Hi everyone, and welcome back to Red Sand Rising, episode 10. I am, as always, Charlie, or CheesyGMing, as your GM for this adventure, and with me are my great friends. Say hi, friends.
Hi, friends.
Hello.
I am once again Elias, playing once again as Giovanni, the beautiful lover of all things beautiful and dwarf kineticist.
And I am Faye, back as Sappho, a bard with the way too long, way too pink hair.
Hello, my name is Peter, and I'm playing the fungus leshy called Tippler's Bane.
Hello, I'm Sylvia, and I'm yet again playing Jiji, our alchemist, wizard, goblin. And wow, we made it to session 10.
We did. And we're actually in a very calm place for once in our session. As last we left off, our Sandpoint hero had a close encounter with the wrathful statue of Rune Lord Alasnist, one where they locked the statue in place before rethinking their steps and solving the trap correctly this time around, giving the statue the most expensive bead and finding some items behind it. And after clearing out the catacombs, the party went back to Sandpoint for a few days of downtime before Father Zantus' friend Audrahnni would arrive and the ritual would take place under the full moon.
Also, on the first day, we should have gotten back, I think it was Gigi's dagger and Tippler's hammer.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah, I have a +1 striking cold iron warhammer now, and that also doubles to my main gouge with my doubling ring, so I have a +1 striking main gouge.
Nice.
Which I mean, it's a fork in flavor, but yeah, works as a main gouge.
And what did Jiji get?
I got I think it was just a striking cold iron dagger. Mine is not +1 since I use it mostly for my focus spell, which is basically propelling the weapon via magic. It's the Hand of the Apprentice, basically.
I thought your dagger was a +1 because it needs to be a +1 to have a striking rune on
Does
it,
it?
as far as I know. Yeah. Please correct me if I'm wrong here. I believe you need to have a potency rune.
I thought it was for other things that you have the +1.
As far as I remember, you need to have a potency rune +1, and then you can add a rune on it, which is a striking. And then when you get potency 2, you can add 2 runes, and when you get potency 3, you can add 3 runes. But let us actually check that between sessions. So for now, add that, and I might need to change that.
According to the internet, it says yes.
Yes, you need to have the +1, and then...
No, you don't. Like,
you don't need to.
it's a fundamental rune, so you don't need a +1. It's for other runes that you need it.
Yes. Property runes like, making it also do some bundle fire damage or something like this. Or make it dancing.
Exactly. There's fundamental runes and property runes.
Okay. Perfect.
And striking and potency runes are both considered to be fundamental runes, whereas others are then property, I think you said, Faye? Yeah, the property rune stock is unlocked depending on the +1, +2, +3.
Alright, perfect. Thank you for checking. Then yes.
So I don't have a +1 dagger because I don't have a +1 rune that we would need to get somewhere and pay for, basically.
True.
So this should be just a striking cold iron dagger.
Although I think the party coffers could probably take a hit of...
I don't
45
need
gold
it.
to get a
I don't
+1
use the
instead.
+1 to the weapon since it's like a spell. It uses my spell casting.
The striking rune is actually good, but
Yeah.
the +1 doesn't make sense.
It is, if it continues to be a spell that you use a lot, mostly then, because if you put in the potency, then you can add the property ones, and those might be, that you then can also add decay or something like this.
For now, it is my main
but-
way of applying poisons,
Yes.
right? Since I apply my poison to the dagger
Yes.
and throw that via my magic spell.
Perfect.
Yeah. But it basically for you only would make sense for the property runes, and
Exactly.
those cost
Yes.
also some money.
No, but great for checking that out. Now we know before the session ends. So you take a couple of days jumping into downtime. Who would like to start by describing what they do during that downtime, during these 4 days.
I can start. Tippler's bane for 4 days, not 4 days straight, but over the days, he would be mainly in the forest, taking walks, soaking up the air, and trying to connect to the animals, and mainly, really, trying to connect to the magic that is around. As he always wanted to be a druid, just like those that summoned him into this world. But, his talents led him away from magic, and he became a ranger instead. But he's still looking for it anyway. Never really successful, but he's hopeful nonetheless. So he walks through the forest, looking for traces that the druids may have left, or just the general magic that's around the forest. Other than that, he would probably also invite Giovanni over every now and then to help him with gardening. But in a way, that's also just a way of seeing Giovanni work his magic, because he's always in awe of how Giovanni uses his magic, especially when he conjures flowers and other sort of more natural things. So those would be the main things that he does.
On one of the days, Giovanni, you have been called by Tipp to go to their house that is a bit further out into the forest, to show your magic a little bit, to show how you do what you do.
Alright, so I guess we're on the path to the forest from town. And it dawns on Giovanni that he's actually never been over at Tipp's place. And okay, Tipp, so you live out in the woods? I thought you lived in town here on the edge, but you're leading me out into the woods? Do you have any ulterior motives there? Or?
No, my house is just outside. It's nice and quiet, and I get to enjoy the forest.
I've taken that road plenty of times. I've never seen like a house on the side of the road there somewhere.
Well, I mean, technically it's not really a house. It's more like a tree stump, I guess. Like an old tree that came down at some point.
Damn, man, you live in a tree? Actually, I kind of respect that. It's gotta be pretty nice.
It is, yeah. Can't wait to show you.
Wait, one more thing I meant to ask you, like, for a long time, Tipp, but I've only now mustered the courage. So, I mean, as a dwarf, I don't really want to question the use of a hammer, but don't people usually use, like, a knife and a fork?
Yeah. But I didn't get a knife.
You just got a hammer, like they just handed you one, and you rocked with it. You rode with it.
You know how I used to be in the town militia?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's just what I got. First thing I picked up was the hammer, and it worked. I mean,
it works very well. I can definitely attest to that. Yeah.
I just added the fork eventually out of necessity, because I was never really good with a shield. It just felt clunky, and I couldn't really attack with it either. And it always got in the way, and I stumbled over it more than it helped me. So I used a fork for defense, and every now and then, I mean, you've seen me work with it. It also packs a punch.
Oh yeah, damn. Like, I don't know how. Like, I've never seen any person deflect blows with a fork, but it obviously works. So. Works for you at least.
Oh, absolutely. And now I wouldn't change it for a thing. And the hammer, the same. If I now found a good knife, sure, it would probably look funny and a little, well, it would probably also look a little less threatening maybe. And, you know, sometimes it helps to intimidate your foes, and they run away and you don't have to fight them at all.
That's actually pretty smart. Well, Tipp, I don't mean to pry or anything or like question you, but how far are we going into this forest? I won't be able to find my way back, man. You're gonna have to show me.
It's just over the bridge and off to the side. It's really not too far.
Okay.
I lead Giovanni to my tree stump house and show him my garden, which is, well, by Giovanni's standards, probably very messy. But by Tipp's standards, it's natural. So Tipp would ask Giovanni to kind of help him here and there to make it a little prettier, and to grow some nice flowers that usually don't necessarily grow in the forest but would still be fine in the forest. And I imagine they'd have a great afternoon together, making Tipp's garden nice. And Tipp would every now and then look very closely at how Giovanni conjures the flowers and does his magic in general, just so he could maybe learn one or two things, but probably he won't.
That's beautiful.
So you're going for kind of like an untouched nature aesthetic here, I'm gathering from this.
Yeah, but that's also why I called you over, right?
Yeah, but
like...
I expected it to be much worse, honestly. You have like not a horrible eye for aesthetics. Like, I mean, sure, it
means a lot coming from you.
I would clean it up a bit if I was in charge here, but like, it's not bad by any means. Like,
go ahead, please. I mean, do your magic. That's why you're here.
Yeah, it's actually not really magic. It's just like stuff that comes from the elemental plane. Like, I don't just create it out of nothing, and it's like it has nothing to do with wizardry and sorcery and all such things. But yeah, like, watch closely, and the only thing you really see is Giovanni just closing his eyes, and a moment later, like, the kinetic aura starts forming around him, and like the elements start like coming out of the ground and out of thin air, like some like flowers start sprouting out of the ground, and some water droplets start forming out of the moisture in the air, and it just starts like slowly moving in circles around him and floating. But basically happens while Giovanni does that, what you can't see is Giovanni basically focusing on that one thing inside of him that makes him kind of different from almost anybody else, which is like a connection to both the elemental plane of water and wood, where he basically pulls the components that he needs to make the magic happen, even though it's not magic. Alright, Tipp, so now you do it. Now you grow the next one. There's like, I think there should be like a very beautiful bush here and some peonies there, so just try to focus on your elemental gate that you have within you and open it. I managed to do it. Can't be that hard, right?
Tipp would focus really, really hard. But he can't even feel the connection. He cannot even feel what Giovanni is talking about. So nothing happens. And he just sort of thinks to himself, well, this is what always happens, and this is how I discovered that I have no magical talent. I just never felt that connection. But to Giovanni, he would just say, well, I think I need to leave this up to you. It's just not working.
Yeah, that's fair.
Trying to hide his disappointment in a way, but not very successfully.
Yeah, I was just trying to instill some like confidence in you that you can do it, but honestly I've never met anyone else who could do anything like that. Although I've heard stories of someone who had like a connection to the elemental plane of fire. He was able to do some crazy stuff, but more so just destruction, so it's not really my thing.
Yeah, no, I like your plans more.
Anyways, over the next 4 or 5 days until the ritual, we should be able to get this place in shape, but I have a side project going as well right now, so I unfortunately can't dedicate my entire time to your garden.
Ooh, what are you up to?
Oh, not much, not much. And Giovanni thinks to himself how he can best convey what he has been up to Tipp. Let's just say I'm working on some new business ideas and new ways of plant development, but nothing's final yet.
Well, I'll leave you to it, and I'm sure you'll tell me all about it when it's ready.
No, I definitely will. You'll be the first to hear about it.
Great, I can't wait.
Alright then, just one more issue. I don't know how to find the way back. We've been walking through the forest for like 5 minutes or something, but just point me in the direction.
Tipp would show him to the bridge, which is at the edge of town, which is really just a few trees out of the forest. It's really not far into the forest, and would wave goodbye, and then he would go home.
All right. So Giovanni waves back and is kind of like starts acting a little bit like shifty, like he does not want to be seen. He's not very good at that, but it's probably being more suspicious than if he just did things normally. But basically he goes back to the entrance of the cave that the party has been exploring over the past few days, and quietly jumps down into the hole, has to take a moment to compose himself before going down there. A little bit of a phobia from enclosed, tight spaces and holes and caves, but exciting things wait down there. This is like basically the second day that Giovanni has been doing this. He was up to the same thing the day before already, where Giovanni just thought like that this cave that was very stinky and infested by these goblin ghouls was just horrible, like really bad. And he was also thinking of like most basements that people have and any like underground thing that is usually just moist, disgusting, stinky, dark and ugly. And Giovanni does not want to let that stand. So he's basically going down there, sneaking down into the cave every day to try out different plants that he can like summon, and different kinds of species of plants and flowers that would work underground, that would grow underground, and try to like make the place a bit more beautiful. And the great business idea that he's been cooking up is basically developing this to a point where he can offer a service to make people's basements into beautiful gardens. And that would be a very unique way to make a very ugly thing way more beautiful.
That is a fantastic and very fitting choice for Giovanni. What would be his favorite plant to try to test out? Like the favorite flower?
Well, the favorite is, it's not so much about the favorite, but more so just testing an array of different plants and bushes and flowers that would actually grow with such little light and unfertile soil. And just basically come up with an assortment of plants that would actually grow underground, so he can start like combining them into beautiful gardens.
Amazing. So
I'm sure in a magical world like this, there are plenty of like fluorescent fungi and flowers that also grow in caves.
Beautiful.
Right?
Exactly.
He's taking Tipp's friends.
No.
Rock.
No, he's taking other types of vessels that Tipp was summoned into. Don't forget, Tipp is a leshy. He's just in a mushroom, but he's actually a leshy.
No. He's just a beautiful mushroom.
To us, he's a mushroom.
how dare you
Very
reduce
cute
him into mushroom and nothing but that.
Okay, he's a powerful natural spirit, actually. Right? I mean,
Okay.
Fine, we'll
Yes.
accept that.
But that's very a mouthful to say. It's always a mouthful to say. Little mushroom guy is so much easier.
and that works for the
Yes.
for the time being.
One day it will change, but for now, little mushroom guy it is.
Yes. Eventually, he'll become the grand spirit that he actually
Yes.
always was meant to be.
Giovanni spent some time doing, as he called it, a side project. Next time, if at all, you're gonna come into this place, it's going to be absolutely gorgeous and smell so much better.
At least the latter parts where Giovanni has started
Yes.
figuring it out. The entrance at the early part is like an experimental ground where like a bunch of flowers and plants just have died, and there's like a lot of chaos going on with like 20 different kinds of mushrooms just growing next to each other because Giovanni wanted to see which one of them would survive and look the best. And just basically it looks like I don't even know how to compare this, but basically just like hundreds of different species of plants next to each other, half of them dead, half of them beautiful, half of them not so much. It just looks like a place where someone has tried growing every single plant that exists and failed on most of them, but eventually figured it out.
Still beautiful. while we know what Tipp and Giovanni are doing, who wants to go next in the downtime description?
I can go.
Mm-hmm.
For Jiji herself, I think she is very much spending the time earning some income. She is, after all, an apprentice to Niskander, who owns the bottled solution in town. So an alchemist. And she would just use most of her free days to catch up on work and earning some of the income, basically creating elixirs and alchemical items for the shop.
Yeah.
And I guess both Sappho and Jiji would spend some days together, maybe in the evenings identifying the rest of the treasures. I know we had some in the party stash still laying around from when we were in the caverns.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
I think for occasions like this, Jiji has like a larger chair in her flat, which is like her home is very much goblin sized, but whenever Sappho comes over, or like there's like a larger armchair or something with like a coffee table where Sappho can come and join her in her studies, and they pour over the rest of the items.
Yeah.
Yes. There's will be a lot of inspiration, inspiring poems being read out while Jiji is doing the main work of identifying items.
Yeah.
So since you have a couple of items, but you're going over them for the duration of the downtime for like 4 days, you will have multiple times to try to identify them. So eventually you would be able to identify all 3 scrolls that you're looking at. The first one being a consecrate ritual formula that you will be able to learn if you would ever want to cast a ritual. The second one would be a scroll of Wall of Fire, which is a rank 4 spell, which at the moment is not available to you, but this scroll you can cast regardless, and you might be able to learn that spell in the future. And a scroll of Weapon of Storm, also a rank 4 spell.
Those are pretty neat.
But they're quite difficult. I don't think I can cast any of these yet.
I mean, if you consume the scroll, you could, but
you know how, like, I always studied, like, I would love to keep them around for once I actually understand how these spells work. Like, if we're in a pinch, we of course can use them, but maybe we can try to save them.
But they should be last resort. They should be last resort really only if we're like, oh, I'm already so tired already. I've been fully depleted.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's hordes of, I don't know, ghouls running after us, and maybe a Wall of Fire would be good. But let's just not run into a mob of ghouls.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Sappho would, as we said, spend some time with Jiji to identify, and also just quite often on like basically the off days, and that Sappho hangs out at Jiji's, sometimes just studying poems or writing them while Jiji is preparing some alchemic brews. But on the rest of the time, Sappho has made it, like, learning from being in the ruins and with like some of the trickery that was there, and like how to open doors correctly, and realizing just of how much, if she wants to explore more of those in hopes of finding some of the very ancient poetry, she needs to learn how to like safely open things and deal with it. So Sappho has posted little like flyers in town of like, if somebody can teach how to open up some locks, how to, disarm traps. It's and asks around because she is and will spend a lot of time getting somebody, potentially the smith, but anyone who's ever made a lock of like, so how would I break this now? Which is weirdly conspicuous, but also to anyone that has seen and knows Sappho, it would just be, oh, it's because of her weird focus on old poetry.
Beautiful.
But let's hope the guards are not getting the wrong idea about
Sappho
her.
would have an answer at some point from Volioker Briskelbeard, which is the locksmith of Sandpoint. So you do have a contact of someone who will be able to teach you some things if you would like to learn them. They are also, funnily enough, in the house right next to Broder's house, is where their shop is.
I'm just collecting friends in the same street, so it's easier that I can just come by each of them in a row. But yeah, I would, and I'm happy to pay some coins for, getting that type of information. But yes, Bull would split time between this and would basically focus more on this instead of her usual of earning some income in the tavern. She still has some stuff saved.
For Sappho, learning from Volioker is fairly similar to how the arrangement goes between Jiji and Nisk in Bottle Solutions. They would ask for help around the shop, but they will also, it's an apprenticeship or internship in a way. So you would be able to try to even earn income there while learning, same as what Jiji does. Though for you, it's not going to be specifically an apprenticeship unless you try to become fully a locksmith.
I think it'll be Sappho does some cleaning and some carrying around if it's not too heavy, and helping with upselling people on that they should buy,
Yes.
the better lock, the more expensive one.
During that downtime, Jiji spent some more time in Bottled Solutions, as well as some time with Sappho. Nisk, as ever, is trying new things just to see how they would work. They're not the most peppy person, but they're easy to work with because you have the shared affinity and shared kind of mind of how alchemical items should be. So working at Nisk's place in Bottle Solution is a fairly pleasant pastime. Same for Sappho when you dedicate some time with Volioker. They are a dwarf. They're very pleasant to talk to, though they are extremely 100% business, 0% fun and games when you actually work. But you do feel like learning from them gives you some understanding of how locks work and how to bypass them.
I think that is very funny because Sappho would have figured it out the very hard way, that he's all business. Because she would have tried to make a lot of oh yeah, what do you think of maybe a new poem? I'm really thinking about how great it is if you embrace things with open arms and, really let new things in. I'm not sure yet about rhyme, and seeing just far more how his face falters to seriousness, getting quieter and quieter. And just being okay, I'll just keep cleaning here.
You do that.
Yes. It's fine.
And time goes by. And a couple of days pass by. And it's time for when Father Zantus told you that Audrahnni, his out-of-town friend, is going to arrive to explain a little bit more of what the ritual is going to entail. It is around 6 in the evening or the afternoon when you are asked to arrive back to the Sandpoint Cathedral to meet with Zantus and Audrahnni.
Is the door open or?
The door is closed, but it's not locked. It's keeping some privacy, but it's not locked in, unable to go in.
I think a simple knock and then we just open it.
We are expected.
Exactly. Should just announce ourselves, talk and say hello, and then
I mean, they should be grateful for us showing up, so I'll just go in.
Yeah, Giovanni, that's... Okay, we're going in.
You're opening the door.
Alright, and Giovanni walks up to the door and opens it without knocking.
You open the door and you see a, cut sentence of an elven woman as she just finishes the sentence with, "It was completely fine, thank you for worrying." Audrahnni is a pale elf with extremely long ears and brown hair that flows down, wearing a very, very strong blue clothing that gives a fashion sense kind of, look, essentially. As you approach the room where both Audrahnni and Father Zantus are present in, you see that they have prepared, or he has prepared, a small snacks around, some small bread with oil and balsamic vinegar and some water and juice to have, just to, a little refreshments for her travels. As he welcomes you when you approach, "Oh, yes, please, thank you for arriving. Audrahnni, these are the people I told you about. These are the heroes of your town, the ones that I've been entailed or gave them the position of helping us with today's ritual. These are the one I trusted with the information." And she waves to you.
Hi, I'm Giovanni. Nice ears.
I am Audrahnni. Nice beard.
Thanks. I grew it myself.
I did not grow mine.
Like most things you will probably see around here. I grew them, mostly, probably.
It's a pleasure.
Anyway, this is Tippler, and I shove Tippler in front of me.
Tippler just waves awkwardly because he just had to witness that conversation. He's just "Hi, yeah, you can call me Tips as well."
Pleasure.
Hello, I'm Jiji. And I probably also look awkwardly to Sappho, please save this conversation.
Sappho takes a little, bow, and it's just "Hello, my name is Sappho. We're very honored to meet you. Yes, we were the people that rescued her remains again and made sure that nothing bad could come of this more, and we are, of course, very happy to help. You just gotta give us a little bit of direction, as we have not done this before, but I assure you, we are a very capable troop."
Oh, but of course, and I am endlessly grateful for what you have done for her remains. No one should be suffering in the afterlife the way she is, and I will be happy to help in here. Are we going... And she looks at, Father Zantus. Are we jumping directly to business? I wouldn't mind, that's fine. He looks at you to see, would you like to? Or are you still trying to make a conversation here?
Tippler has approached the snacks and has started eating. And he looks over oh, we were supposed to get going right away with that kind of face. It's puts down some food, but quickly chews what he has in his mouth and is we're ready, right? Looking over to everyone else, but clearly not ready actually by the look of it.
Yeah.
Giovanni pulls aside Father Zantus and just asks him, "Hey, Father, do you think about the aesthetics of your basement sometimes? How is it being in your basement? What would make being in your basement more enjoyable?"
Sappho just slides her whole body in between, just be and that's a great conversation for, a nice day off, but we should indeed talk about what we're supposed to be doing and have that all ready so that we're all on the same page on what needs to be done in case, maybe we need to do some, it's a ritual. Do we need to do maybe prepare specific clothing? washing ritual, something like that.
You know what, Sappho? You're perfectly right. Time is money, and we all don't have enough money. So let's get down to business.
Holding myself.
Let's
I
get
held
down
myself.
to
No.
business.
I tried.
I can't.
tried.
So hard, but in the end, it didn't even matter.
God.
Stopping or it gets just worse.
Never change. Father Zantus is motioning to you to, like, feel free to take from the refreshments. It's been set for, like, her and you. It's like, part of this. And, like, motions to her to start explaining. As she says, the ritual we are going to perform is called Call Spirit. It is quite a complicated one, but if you performed it enough times, it gets easier every time. I will be functioning as the main caster, as the primary caster, and Father Zantus here would be performing as my secondary caster to help in this ritual. On its own, the ritual is meant to be able to connect with a spirit from the afterlife and try to converse with it. However, the peculiars of Nualia's death here, her past with Sandpoint, and the passage of nearly 2 decades of time, and the desecration of her remains makes this all less than ideal for circumstances for calling her spirit. It will take all of my and Father Zantus's focus to ensure that Nualia's spirit can be properly called. And even then, there's a chance that restless spirits might arrive as well and try to take her place. If that happens, Abstolar and myself, we must focus on blocking those spirits from fighting their way through and trying to get their hands on the remains and take control over it. Which also leaves an additional requirement. The ritual takes an hour to perform, from start to finish. During that hour, we will be making our best attempt to connect to Nualia's spirit and call her forth into the bones which you have rescued, to be able to converse with her. However, if we want to make sure that these spirits will not take her place and push her spirit away, we will not be able to divide our attention into actually speaking with her. Which comes to where you are all coming in. During this ritual, I would ask you for 2 main roles. The first one, to help battle off or push back any spirits that might try to take this communion and make it their own. And the second one would be, well, quite literally, speaking to Nualia and trying to give her our forgiveness and requests for forgiveness. It's no easy feat, I know, especially since some of you never met Nualia personally, and most of you were not even close for her or with her, considering how sheltered she was. But I'm positive if someone would be able to do those things, as Father Zantus here said, it would be you. From what I've heard, you are quite the formidable group.
Why, thank you. I mean, you must be quite a formidable person yourself if Father Zantus asked you to come all the way here to perform this.
I sure hope so.
Did you know Nualia personally?
I did not.
Well, you can count on me to ward off any spirits that might try to come. At least if they are susceptible to elemental powers, that is.
I would be quite grateful for that help, thank you.
Yeah, speaking of, can we in any way prepare for potentially fighting spirits? Like, do we know anything about them, like what they're weak to, or do we have anything to ward them off, and like any potions, any scrolls, anything to help?
Well, spirits, as they tend to be, are undead, so anything you might want to prepare for undead possibility would probably be the option. As far as I understood from Father Zantus here, they gave you some things to handle undead a couple of days ago, but we can always see if there's anything new in the supply.
When you say spirits, are they like ghosts? Can like our physical attacks hit them?
It varies. It is completely possible that nothing will show up, but it's also completely possible that a ghost will show up, or a wisp, or a shadow. Unlikely to be one of the physical undeads, since they would need to physically create themselves. It is more likely that the incorporeal undead will be the one trying to take advantage of this communion.
And those we can't strike with our like swords, right? We need to like use enchantments or something.
Yes, I believe what you would be looking for is ghost touch. Anything with ghost touch will be able to touch the untouchable.
A quick mechanical question then. Do we have anything of the sorts?
Well, I believe in our stash and our bags we still have some holy water vials.
On your person at the moment, you do not have any ghost touch, for example, but you can always look to see. There are some like consumables of ghost touch, if I remember correctly.
I also didn't Sappho have one of those spells that makes your strikes magical or something?
Magical and ghost touch would be different.
Okay, so I don't know how it works in Pathfinder.
You would be able to do a magical, to make damage into magical, which might make it more effective, but not necessarily fully effective.
Okay, so they might be completely immune to physical, but might be half immune to magic damage.
Exactly.
But full taking damage from ghost touch.
Yes.
Okay.
Ghost touch is a type of rune you can use on your weapons. It's a 4th rank item, but it's quite expensive, so probably finding that rune and buying it just for this is a little unlikely depending on your funds.
Is there something temporary that we can apply to weapons that make it more successful? I mean, I would have assumed that the holy water might be thrown, but is there something that we maybe can apply that maybe just works for a while?
I think as an alchemist, Jiji might know of something called ghost oil. That is a level 4 oil consumable that costs 18 gold and would make a weapon have the ghost touch rune for 1 minute, basically.
Exactly, which is essentially what you're looking for the non-permanent consumable.
There's also a 3rd level spell that is arcane or occult, that is ghostly weapon, and it would make a weapon have the ghost touch rune temporarily once again. And the 3rd rank scroll would cost 30 gold. But I don't know if we have the time to go out and go shopping and hope that anyone can get us that
I think the ghost oil would be the cheapest, as it's just 18 gold.
Yes, you might be able to find ghost oil in, funnily enough, not in Bottled Solutions, but in Pillbug's Pantry, because Bottled Solutions has lower rank items, but they're more lenient towards experimenting things. Pillbug's Pantry is actually a higher level location that also sells alchemical items, potions, oil, etc. Or you would be able to go to the magical shop, which is the Feathered Serpent, which would be able to give you that item, specifically ghost oil, because this is a high level enough shop to buy it in. And it costs 18 gold pieces per oil, per 1 unit.
And let me guess, 1 unit applies to 1 weapon.
Yes.
I mean, mostly it would be Tipp using it anyway, so having 1 spare.
Yeah, exactly. It's really only for me. Yeah.
When did you say the ritual was happening? Is it this night?
This night.
Okay.
You still have a couple of hours, until it's around 6 p.m. You have a couple of hours until it's midnight. which is
We'd
when
have
the
to
ritual
hurry
should
to
be
catch
taking
the
time.
shop open, though. Probably.
And you still have a couple of hours if you want to go to either the Feathered Serpent or Pillbag's Pantry. Both of them would be open until a couple of more hours before they close down for the day.
What do you think, Tipp? Or do you think just the magic enchantment from Sappho should be fine?
I think the my enchantment might just do the same as what you've already now done with getting it to striking.
True.
And
We did get them upgraded
Yeah.
from the
Plus-
smithy.
So I think some ghost oil would be good. Father, you wouldn't happen to have any around, do you?
Do let me check that if you won't mind. And they're going like to the back room where they went last time to try to figure out if they have anything to give you. Meanwhile, you are left alone with Audrahnni for a couple of more minutes as she asks you all. When it comes to preparations, as you said, this will probably be the best type of preparations, but I do want you to know that we are very grateful for you joining this mission. I cannot even imagine what a person like Noalia is experiencing in her afterlife. And, well, my deity does not allow that anyway. And I would be happy to help whatever I can. Which is when Father Zantus comes back and kind of nods their head of like, sadly, no. We have quite a lot of spells if you would ever be interested in purchasing divine spell scrolls, but sadly the consumable area has been given to you last time we have met.
Then, well, in that case, I might just quickly run to the shop to get something, because I think, well, I'm going to be absolutely useless if we come across any ghosts. And I kind of show my hammer and fork. It's like, well, these don't really do much against them.
That would make sense.
Would you be able to help financially? Because I do believe the oil is quite expensive.
Yes. If you would need some assistance, let me see what I can take out from the cathedral funds. After all, this is part of the work that we do.
And I mean, I guess if we don't end up using the oil, we could then still like leave it around for further use.
Yeah, absolutely. They give out a pouch and they provide you with 15 gold pieces. Well, this should at least ease out the price. I hope.
I'm kind of inclined to complain that it's not even worth like for one, but you know, I'll take it and leave.
You asked to reduce the price.
Huh? What? I can ask to reduce the
No,
price? I thought
you
there
asked
wasn't any...
to reduce the price of what you're gonna buy.
Oh, help financially. Yeah. Well, that was me asking nicely, are you gonna pay for it? But, you know.
Wait, how much did you
I'll
get?
take it anyway.
15 out of the 18 it's
15.
worth.
Yeah, but I mean, 18 is for one weapon. Like, I mean, fine. I'll take
you were
the
hoping
15.
for 2 because you have 2 weapons.
Yeah, I was hoping for the full bloody 26. Yes. Or it's 36, sorry.
Yeah.
What?
Honestly, you should be fine just using your hammer.
Yeah, I'm just making sure. You know from last time, like, about the discussion with the striking rune, Tippler likes to be prepared, right? So, anyway, Tippler takes the money and runs to a shop where he would expect to find ghost oil.
Yep. Either the magical shop or the alchemical shop that is not the one that Jiji is an apprentice in.
For your reference, the alchemical one is a bit shady and, poisons under the counter kind of deal, but they're also potent, right?
Okay. Anyway, in the interest of time, I would skip the shopping, please.
Yes.
And go to the magic one.
And
if they have
I
it.
would just go to the shop that is the most likely to have it, buy 1 vial of ghost oil and return to the cathedral.
Yep, no problem. We can skip forward for that as you return. Meanwhile, at the cathedral, Audrahnni is having generally small talk, but she will also answer any more questions you would have, if you have any more.
Giovanni's gonna ask if, why her ears are so long.
Well, I am an elf, just like your friend here.
Yeah, she has way shorter ears though. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
She is probably a lot younger than I am.
Damn, you don't look like a day over 200, I gotta say.
Oh, thank you. I am though.
I don't know if that is a compliment. I don't know how old you actually are. But 200 is not that old for an elf, right? Or is it?
No, I'm beyond that. But thank you.
Yes. I did not fuck up this conversation.
They start preparing for the ritual. Whatever they can. They start placing candles. This would need to happen in the boneyard under the full moon. And they start preparing the area. As they place candles and incense around in a circle, in quite a large circle in the boneyard. In an area that is cleared without any graves specifically. And they do not take Noalia's remains outside just yet, because they are waiting to do that right when needed. Because as you already know, they try to keep this whole ritual kind of under, not being public, because it might make some people upset if they found out about this. Is there anything you do during the couple of hours until the ritual would actually start?
Nothing specific. I think we're chatting underneath ourselves. So you see Jiji applying poison, though she's very much probably thinking to herself, poison won't do much in this encounter. But yeah, I guess chatting, they're probably focused, so we won't be chatting to them much, right?
Wait, so everyone come here for a moment. I have a question. It's not important or related to anything, but what do you think about underground gardens?
Giovanni is really set on selling his underground garden.
What do you mean with underground gardens? Is it is it the underground of the city as in for criminals? Or do you mean upside down? What do you mean with underground garden? I mean, all plants are underground, right? I mean, at least partially.
That's true. I hadn't thought about it this way, actually. That's giving me an entirely new perspective on things. But no, I meant if you don't have space for a garden, or you want a different kind of garden with different kind of stuff in it, and you had a garden in your basement, for example. Not that is related to anything, but just out of curiosity.
I don't have a basement though.
Me neither.
That's true. Wait,
I mean,
why don't you all have basements?
Reason.
I understand for Tipp because he lives inside of a tree stump, but
it might be a reason for people to build basements. Maybe you should partner up with somebody who builds basements.
Why me? I don't have anything to do with underground gardens. I'm an above ground gardener.
Of course, that hypothetical person that might be a friend of yours should maybe, hang out with a other hypothetical person that, is into basement building.
Yeah, true. If a hypothetical person had plans like that, that is something they might consider. Good call.
Yes, just hypothetically.
I didn't know such few people had basements.
I mean,
I've usually seen basements in the buildings I've been in.
The tavern has basement, but it's not mine.
Yeah, there's also
Dwarf
a basement.
buildings usually have basements.
To the building, but I just have a small part of it, right? I live in the second floor in a apartment,
Yeah, for now, but you're gonna have your own alchemy store with your own basement.
I mean, yeah, of course, right?
Hypothetically, if someone were to invent an underground garden in the basement, then you could grow chemical supplies there, a chemical.
Would be super helpful
for your potions and stuff. Right?
I want that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very space saving. So especially I think in the larger the city gets, the more interesting it's going to be.
How large can a city get? Like Sandpoint is already pretty big. I guess Absalom is really big. Never seen it though.
Cities can get quite some big, but also, I mean, if you have city walls and protection, and then somebody's like, oh, I'd like to have an extra garden. It's like, oh, there's not enough space. We would need to rebuild the city wall. And then it's like, oh, you could just build it in your basement.
You've given me lots of things. Oh, you've given me lots of. The hypothetical person has a lot more things to think about now.
Yeah. Yes, you can talk to your friend, your hypothetical friend, about it and see what he thinks.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. So, how many ghosts have you guys seen before?
I haven't seen a ghost. I've just Sappho takes out a little wand, waves it in the air, and takes a book out of thin air. I've read a lot of poems on them, and I can read some to you if you want to.
Read me your favorite ghost poem, maybe.
Oh, Sappho would do, because she has indeed used, once again, her wand of pocket library to get a beautiful, beautiful book on ghost poetry.
Stories of the dead, from the dead, by the dead, for the dead. After a couple of hours go by, it is time for the ritual. It is now midnight. You see Audrahnni and Father Zantus now start bringing out the remains of Nualia.
I guess we'll also head outside with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to remind the party I have holy water in my inventory, but there's still some in the party stash, if someone wants to take those.
I also have 2 vials, yeah.
Oh, wait, thank you for the reminder. That's very good, because, oh, wait, just looked at the book. I actually have 3.
We got some from, I think, when we were in that, the other adventure.
Yes, I mean, I'll take more. I mean,
Well, I have like a vial or 2, but I'm not the best at throwing stuff.
Does everyone have a healing potion with them?
I am the healing potion.
I have 1, yep. No, I actually have 2.
That's good. Jiji, you have
Yeah,
at
and
least
also
one?
I always have my elixirs on me, so don't worry about me.
Okay. And also, Giovanni, do you have at least also... I know you can do a lot of spells, but even just... what if... I don't know, your tongue's broken, or your hands are broken, you can't do that, that you at least have something to drink? Do you have at least one?
Oh, yeah. I do have enough stuff to keep myself hydrated.
Okay, then that's good. I would take, because I don't know what ghosts all do, but when we have the salve of anti-paralysis, so I'll take it and so I can apply it to somebody if
Yeah, and you
needed.
can also take the healing potion, since you usually stay safe.
I mean, yes. And then, does everyone... I have 3 bottles of holy water. How much does
Same.
everyone have?
I have 2.
Let's stock up to 3.
And
What do you
Yes.
roll for throwing things?
Should be your dexterity, I believe, for throwing bombs.
I have pretty good dexterity.
It's dexterity plus, I think, your proficiency in some, I don't know if it's a simple weapons, which everyone should be proficient in. So basically 6 plus your dexterity should be a plus to throw.
Yeah, this is simple weapon, so yes. Anything else you're preparing?
I'm ready.
Okay. You are with Audrahnni and Father Zantus in the boneyard field, with the bones laid in front of them. as they start performing the ritual. You know it's going to take about an hour until the ritual is ending, meaning during that hour, things might appear and you would be needing to speak to Noalia at that time. What you notice first is not the things around you. It's very quiet, it's very calm at the moment. There's just chanting, there's just some... You see Audrahnni, you're not quite sure who she follows, but it seems like her way of performing this ritual is through dance under the moonlight of the full moon. While Father Zantus is not as good of a dancer as she is, but still performing the mirrored dance of this ritual.
How are the light conditions? And we are standing in like a circle around them doing the ritual? Or
Where you choose to stand is up to you. They are trying to connect Noalia to come from the bones, which are like kind of between them and in front of them. You can choose where you're standing in this situation. Because essentially they tell you anywhere around you is... Well, you make a choice.
I mean, Sappho has been slightly volunteered to talk to her. It's like just like on the opposite of like being relatively close to the bones, not directly next to them, to, you know, give some space to Noalia and not be like, you know, invading her personal space. But it's on the opposite side of our two dancers.
Yep.
It would be more towards the side of I forgot her name.
Audrahnni.
The main dancer. Yes, exactly.
It's a difficult name.
And has his hammer out in one hand and a vial of holy water in the other.
Giovanni, expecting like some danger to come our way, has channeled his elemental aura, so the elements are flying around him as he takes the kind of opposite side of Tipp, closer to Father Zantus, so we're kind of like covering opposing sides in case like anything comes from an unexpected direction.
Quick question to the GM.
Yes.
Would you allow me to put the bottle of ghost oil on the floor, and then to apply it, I would simply smash it with my hammer?
You're applying a single action. See.
Yes, applying
then
would
yes.
be one action.
It's an interact, so yeah.
I would allow it. It will still take the action, but you don't have to hold it. I'll allow it.
And I don't have to take it out, right? Which would also be an action.
It's already out, yes.
And I also don't need, and I don't need a hand free for it. That's also another thing that I'm considering. So
it's creative. I like
then
it.
My setup would be holy water in my left hand, hammer in my right hand, ghost oil in front of me on the floor, ready to be smashed.
Just you wait until a really quick ghost comes in and snags it away.
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Unfortunately, the bridge is further than we think it is, as around 10 minutes into the ritual, you start hearing shouting and yelling of an angry mob approaching and reaching the front door of the cathedral. As even from where you are, you can hear the voice of unmistakably one Charn Scarnetti, the son of the Scarnetti family, and one of the meanest people you know, leading a mob and shouting towards it. How dare you do this filthy ritual to try to commune with this terribly, terribly person? We will not stand for it, and we will put a stop for this right now. But we're gonna deal with that next session.
What a dick.
Oh my god, that is a cliffhanger right here.
Dang, who leaked this?
Yeah, who ratted us out?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
God damn it.
I'm just like, no, who's this? Like, this person I think might just become our first enemy. Just by being a dick.
Charn Scarnetti, lovely person.
Isn't Rip Nugget already the first enemy? I don't know.
Kind of, but we haven't met him.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know Rip Nugget. We have not met Rip Nugget
okay,
yet.
fair.
So
I get it. I see.
You would know Charn Scarnetti
But,
because it is impossible to not know this man. It is an entitled aristocrat. That their family was the founding family, one of the founding families of Sandpoint, and they took it to their brain to keep everyone to remember that.
would he have uncomfortably hit on Sappho at one point?
Highly likely.
Yes.
Highly likely. This.
Yes. Personal, just more of a dislike. Just yes. Give me more reasons to just even more dislike this person. Beautiful. Oh well, we'll deal with him next time.
Let's hope things don't go down the path of us fighting half the town to death.
This absolutely depends on how you do things and what you want to do.
We distract them by doing interpretive dancing.
Well, we'll figure that all out in our episode 11 of Red Sand Rising. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you players for playing.
Thank you.
See you all next
Thank you,
time.
everyone.
Or hear you next time.
Bye-bye.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye. Red Sun
Bye.
Rising is made by Of Dice and Dinner, produced under the Paizo Incorporated Community Use Policy. Red Sun Rising uses trademarks and or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's fan content policy at paizo.com/licenses/fan content. Red Sun Rising is not published, endorsed, or specifically approved by Paizo. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. Original characters and content are the property of Dice and Dinner. Our podcast intro-outro theme is made by Frieda, Melando, and Shachar Bieber. Of Dice and Dinner is happy to be in touch, and our email is the best way to do so. That's ofdiceanddinnerpodcast@gmail.com.